I feel bad for Michelle that she's got to go to all the meetings times 2, right?
Hey, Becky.
Well, all the committees
Plus Garrettsville.
plus Garrettsville. Are they Zooming or are they in person?
Is she listening to us?
No.
No.
She's selective hearing. That's okay.
We're talking about you,
Like she's
Michelle.
got like.
I am. I'm
going on.
trying to make sure this YouTube stream works, and it seems to be working fine. I'm using a different computer tonight, so it's not quite acting the way I wanted it to, but I think it's a-okay. And yeah, I get to come to all your lovely committee meetings and my meetings in Garrettsville too.
Are they Zooming or do they have some of theirs in person?
They have planning commission in person with the public can attend. They have council in person, but they live stream it over Facebook. Board of Public Affairs, they have all Zoom. Safety committee, they have in person and the public can attend. And when they have Board of Zoning Appeals, they have that in person.
I think we only had 5 meetings last year because of COVID.
Right. Oops.
Three seconds. 6 o'clock. All right, I'd like to call this safety meeting to order. Wednesday, February 3rd at 6 p.m. Members present, I have Ben, Marty, and Tammy. Others present is Michelle. The first order of business is with Paula resigning, we have to elect a chairperson. Suggestions, yes, no, maybe? Don't all speak at once?
I suggest Tammy.
I'll second.
Thanks, guys.
Tammy's the alternate. How's she going to be chairperson? She won't usually be here.
Well, she
Tammy's
isn't
the
alternate
alternate.
now because she's taking Paula's place now
For tonight.
for tonight. Yeah, well, and we'll see who comes in as new council person. And
Yeah,
What
we
they
can
both said was
always,
not it, I think.
we can always change it.
So Michelle, do we just keep her as an alternate until they replace Paula's council position? And Tammy stays on as an alternate?
Right. The main seat is vacant and Tammy is currently assigned as the alternate unless council reassigns her to be a regular member. But usually what happens is when a council seat goes vacant, all the committee seats go vacant with that council seat and then they get refilled when the council member gets appointed, which we hope happens this month.
So we, for elect chairperson, we'll just say, we just table it for now until the council seat's filled?
Sure,
That's a
that's
good idea.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Works for me. Sorry,
Works
Tammy, you
for
still gotta
me.
be an alternate.
No, no, I'm good. I stay an alternate. I'm good.
Okay. You should have gotten the email for the minutes from October 7th. Since there's only 2 of them, I think Tammy has to abstain because she wasn't there. So
Correct.
basically it'll be, I need a motion and a second by one or the other to accept those minutes from October.
I make the motion.
no second.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, you should have the appropriation status, vendors, and the SRO report. Everything's on file. If you have any questions, that basically it was all the way through 2020.
I
Pretty
have a question.
self-explanatory.
How come there's no cruiser payment for December? Did you pay it off?
No. I probably didn't get the financial from the bank in January. Cruiser payment should be all the way through. Yeah, it's there. For the
It's in
appropriation status?
Oh, I was looking at the vendor list.
Yeah,
No. It's on the appropriation status through December.
Okay.
For the vendors. No, that was an oversight.
Okay.
I'll make sure it's filled.
That was my only question, was how come it was on different?
Any other questions?
I have no questions.
Okay, Michelle, do we have anything from citizens?
No, you don't.
Okay. Under old business, we purchasing the 5 laptops, that's done and insert and use. Installing the 4 temperature gates at Village Hall and Park Lodge, that's completed and in use. The UV lights and the HVAC systems, that's completed and in use. Trick or treat was scheduled for Saturday, October 31st. That's complete. Anything under any comments or any other old business? Okay, moving on to new business, Prospect Street parking. Prior to last council's meeting, I was told that a business person was going to be at the council meeting about that area at 4690 East Prospect in front of the old granary. When they moved that porch out, they took away from some of that roadway. There's not a lot of real estate there. So we've posted signs, we've lowered signs. There's basically no parking between the 2 marked signs, and we're still getting parking violations. So we were given warnings for a very long time. And now, we've started issuing cites, and one of the business owners down there has shared their displeasure with that we're not continuing to give warnings. The pictures that I sent before the council kind of showed, and that's a smaller vehicle. I shared with that business owner that if they wanted to try to change stuff, I told them when the safety meetings were that they could bring stuff here. We would discuss it. And then if we felt that it would move forward, it could go on to council that, you guys could discuss it. I haven't received any other follow-up correspondence from that person. Then they showed a concern about lighting in the back of the property. I said, I can't help you with that. That's a landlord-tenant issue. So just want to be aware at some point when the weather breaks, things start getting busy with the new meat shop. We know that parking's an issue, but we can't just allocate certain parking spots. And then they asked about one that's parallel to that front porch, 1 parking spot there. I'm not a big fan of that because if it's a smaller car, maybe, but then if you can't discriminate, and then they said, what about 15-minute parking? Because Restoration 44 has 15-minute parking. Again, I tried to explain that those spots weren't put there for Restoration 44. Those were there for years, that they had gone away when the old grocery store was there. And then when the business came back, they were still on the books. So we reinstated those 2 15-minute spots, that it wasn't put there just for Restoration 44. So they'd ask about a 15-minute parking there. But again, we're going to have a vehicle there with continuous to try to run 2 lanes of traffic down through there. So it's just something to think about. It just keeps coming back to haunt us in that area right there. So I don't know what the answer is going to be.
I was approached by one of the other business owners who said there's plenty of parking down, down in the behind it. So
Yes,
there's plenty of parking down there.
nobody wants to park down around the back and walk up. Fridays when Jake's would have fish fries, we had one time we had 2 or 3 cars down in that area. But like you said, there was plenty of spots down around the back, just nobody wants to take that step.
And there's a couple
Oh.
parking spots on First Street.
Yeah, there's parking
Right
on the
across.
east side of First Street.
The,
So,
I got a comment about this. We got to be kind of particular because one of the biggest problems we got in this village is parking. That is, and if you're gonna have a business and stuff, there got to be places to park. In 15 minutes, parking is not hardly enough time to do anything, especially when that butcher shop and bakery opens. It's got to, this thing's got to be chewed on a little bit more.
Well-
Our biggest problem is parking.
I'm not disagreeing with you. My concern is if I put if we recommend, or the council, or if the village suggests to put a 15-minute spot in front of that business, 15 minutes, that spot will always be filled. You might as well make it a permanent parking spot, which is defeating the purpose of putting no parking between the signs.
But
I
then you
agree.
In line running their trucks
Yeah.
up Prospect Street and eastbound traffic down there, that road is not wide enough to have 2 lanes of traffic plus a parking spot.
And another thing about it is when you park and you got to walk down some of these hills in the wintertime, that's pretty dangerous, especially if you're getting a few years on you.
I agree with that. I think that's why a lot of people don't park in the lower parking lot.
I
Especially
wouldn't
park-
park down behind Jake's and walk up that hill this time of year. You would almost need yak tracks on or something to get up and down that hill without falling.
I don't know if the answer would be to somehow possibly put a set of stairs in there at some point, looking down the road. But like Tammy said, there's parking down First Street, but for that one spot, it's creating a little bit of a headache. And
Well, if you got one of those trucks that's 4-door and an 8-foot bed on it, it's sticking out so far that is a problem. But
right. And that
the thing
picture I
about it
sent
is-
was a
thing about
smaller
it is, what are
car.
you gonna do is tell those people they can't park down there? I think this parking thing needs to be thought about long and hard.
And I
Okay.
think it's a village-wide
that's just
thing,
my
because you've
opinion.
got the flower shop, the sub shop, you've got the meat shop. Because you've already told the sub shop no, right?
Yeah, the sub shop did ask for a 15-minute parking spot on theirs because of the ones down at Restoration. And at that time, what I shared was, and I think I brought it up at Safety or Council, if we put a 15-minute parking spot up for every new business that opens, which I'd love to be able to do, we're limited on parking, everything would be marked a 15-minute spot. There's
That-
just not enough room. And we did
15
away with
minutes.
spots on the east side and the west side of the road on Main Street. As they fade away, we are not doing parking spaces. We did parking lanes. So that we don't
15
have the
minutes.
individual
15 minutes,
spots.
15 minutes in a lot of those stores is not enough time to park.
I agree
Well,
there.
then that would prove our point that 15-minute spots would kind of defeat the purpose.
The only reason that we approved the 15-minute parking in front of Haylet's store was because they were the parking spots on the end of the street, not in the middle of the parking zone.
That's true.
Right. And on the north end of that east side, up by Jake's Eats, is a handicap spot. So if you put a 15, in the unlikely event that we would put a 15 there, now we're going to have a handicap and a 15 right there. Because there is a handicap spot right there. So anyway, just to let you know, somebody may be bringing it up of our continuous parking problem in the village. Moving on to the next one, personnel status, just to kind of give you a heads up what's going on. We did have one auxiliary officer resign, could not fulfill the commitments. We had one dispatcher resign, and we have one on a 6-month leave of absence. So we have another one that's interviewing for a full-time job at a different place.
What about
So
the dispatch job? You got someone interviewing for that?
I'd have to have applicants before I can interview. So
That's a
we
hard
are,
job. Dispatching is a hard job.
yes, it is. So we will be looking at getting applicants and candidates to fill. I can never have too many dispatchers.
No, you couldn't.
With COVID and families and vacations and everything, it gets a little tedious to try to fill the spots all the time. So, and unfortunately, we can't work from home and somebody has to be there 24/7. So that's personnel status. The other thing under new business, we did receive the 8 new Marks portables. We're going to be waiting to get those programmed. Hopefully we'll have those in service in a couple of weeks, and that'll replace the 8 outdated portables that we're using now. We did receive 1 Marks mobile on an EMA grant. EMA of Portage County had applied for and received some mobile radios, and we had put in a wish list for one. So that will actually go in our dispatch. So we'll have like a backup, or we'll be able to listen to another agency if we should have another critical incident. Village Hall access, the 2 things that I have, the High Street door, the one where you would come in to get your mail, where they used to drop off the water payments. I do have a keypad lock that we have purchased and ordered. So if you wanted to come in and get your mail during the off hours, you won't have to buzz in. You'll have a 4-digit code to where you'll be able to punch that in and come in and get your mail. That way you're not waiting on the dispatcher if we're dealing with something. And with the mask, it's hard for us to tell on the camera who's actually coming up in the winter if you have a stocking cap on and stuff. This way, if you have a code, then you'll be able to get in. And once I sent a list down of some pre-numbers that I want programmed for the police department employees, and then he's going to show me how to program for the rest of everybody else. So I'll be getting with you, and you'll be able to come in and get your mail, and you won't have to come around front or wait on them to buzz you in.
So
That door, when they did come out and look at that door, in the future, we're probably going to have to look at getting that door replaced. The bottom of it's starting to rot out. So, and that's just from the years of salt. So, and the guesstimates at about $1,000. Those are those steel doors.
So you're going to send us that code when you get it.
I'll probably have you just stop down and do it in person. Sometimes I find it's easier to show you how it works. Probably take you about 1.5 minutes, but I can't send it to you. It's pretty simple. You just enter your 4 digits and you'll hear it release, and you pull the handle down and off you come. There will still be a key override in the middle of it. For all of us who have keys, we'll be able to do that, but it's going to make it a little bit easier for you guys to be able to come in, because that lock just kind of wore out over time. So it's kind of an added thing.
Yeah, we all wear out over time.
Yeah.
That's Marty.
Yeah.
And the other thing I have under Village Hall access, at some point, we're going to have to probably look at doing something with the front steps coming around. Just over the years, they're pitted, they're disintegrated, they're starting to chip and crack. So at some point, we might need to look at doing something with that. Possibly this summer, maybe looking at doing something with that. They're starting to get deteriorated pretty good. So we'll take a peek at that. Only other thing I have under personnel, one thing I skipped over, and it was a last minute write-in, was I'm possibly looking at adding another sergeant position in 2021 to basically help take some of the load off of me and try to delegate with some vehicle stuff, because right now I'm pretty much doing it all between vehicle and computer stuff, and it's starting to add up a little bit. So I'm looking for a little bit of leadership to be able to help. The new hires that we brought in, and we're interviewing 2 more for auxiliary, somebody to give these people some leadership and some guidance. So I'll be looking to do that in 2021. And depending on how it goes, I may be looking at another car purchase down the road. The Fords, they're in almost 100,000 miles. And in getting them appraised and looked at, they said at around 90 to 93,000 miles, you need to start looking at them because they're going to start nickel and diming you. So I'm going to start pulling numbers from last year, each month, what the car cost versus an investment in something. So we might be looking at doing that. Other than that, that's kind of my 2021 plans. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I got one.
What's that?
Were you able to use any of that COVID money for salary?
Yeah, we did legislation and I believe the number was $60,000. We transferred from COVID over to, we'll call it payroll for officers and dispatchers.
Good, good. I was just wondering. That's
And
fine. I'm
Michelle,
glad it-
correct me if I'm wrong, we had 3 pays, I think, and the last 3 pays of 2020. We had it in time for that for the, would it be October council meeting?
I actually don't remember which, it seems we passed it in October or November, but they extended the deadline for using the money. So if you had anything left over in 20, you can now use it through the end of 21.
Yeah,
And I think
Good.
Jenny's already doing that.
yeah,
That's
Jenny's
good.
working on it, and I don't want to put a number out there without Jenny's input. But yes, there was something that we didn't use that we'll be able to carry over to 21, just then going to help us a little bit more.
That's good.
So, yeah. Does anybody have, moving on, does anybody have anything that we need to recommend to council? I don't have anything. Finance committee, Jenny's already taken care of the rollover COVID. I have nothing for parks or service. One thing, we talked about it last night at service. The service department did do a pretty good job, excellent job. The last couple snowstorms, starting on Christmas Eve. Having drove into work, some of our surrounding communities, the roads weren't so good, but our village was actually pretty good. Actually, the state patrol going to their crashes all over mentioned that our village looked in pretty good shape. So they did a
I
good
think
job.
They did a great job.
They did.
And they got out there early enough to where
Yeah.
there was
And
nobody
that's-
else on the road when they were out there.
And that is one advantage of having a midnight dispatch. As soon as we see it and we're calling, they're answering. 2 of the 3 live very, very close. So the response time is usually within 15 to 20 minutes. They're usually at the service department. So they get there, they get on it, and we just get it done. And that way we're good to go for the morning commute. Items tabled, I guess Tammy will just stay an alternate for now until we decide how we're going to fill that spot on council. The next meeting tentatively is scheduled for March 3rd. And we'll see what happens. I'll let you know ahead of time. If there's really nothing or something that I can plan on, I know we have meetings a lot by Zoom. If there's something small that I can cover at council, I'll probably just send out an email and get your recommendation. If you guys don't have a problem with it, some of these I'll just cancel if I don't have anything that we don't need to vote on and send to council. But other than that, tentatively, I have to schedule it. It'll be the first Wednesday in March, which is March 3rd at 6 p.m.
Chief, as long
Yes.
as you take care, as long as you take care of the mean baddies, I'm happy.
We're trying. We are trying. If nobody has anything else, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I moved.
I'll
Then
second.
second, Tammy,
Bye.
Aye.
All right.
and we will end it at 6:21.
Guys, take care of
All right.
yourself and stay safe.
All right, thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bundle up for this weekend. It's going to get cold.
Good night.
All right, good night.
Good night.